Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to just a summer tournament. We're getting into this next match within the playoffs. It is going to be Zemiku versus pinoyplayingosu. But with me in the commentary booth, I'm also going to have Mari. Hello, how are you doing? Yeah, always fun to kind of see these newer people. I'm familiar with Zemiku quite a bit, but I'm not too sure about Pino, so it is going to be my first time seeing at least one of them at least. Yeah, but it looks like we'll be seeing Pino going for the first protect, going for a protect on race 4. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they go for LN or, like you said, a hybrid. They're pretty decent. I know they've been trying to play a lot of more like LN hybrid stuff, but it looks like we'll be going for a race 5 instead.
Dude, what you playing?
Yeah,
Hello?
and I guess thinking a little bit more, maybe that Rice 5
Dude,
ban,
take that.
given that it's like one of the more, I guess, trickier, more physical maybe, might just be to maybe, I guess, lower the gain that the opponent could maybe get. But it looks like an LN2 ban though. I guess it makes sense. I mean, LN hybrid, if you're not confident on like either, I guess it's fine to kind of ban either of them. Yeah, but we'll have to see as we're going to the first pick. And I think Pino is going to be going for the first pick. It seems like they won the roll. Let me just double check. Yeah, it seems like they won the roll, so. I mean, interesting, honestly. I don't really see a lot of people going for this as like their first pick usually. Yeah, it's such a sad. Like, especially when it comes to like these like playoffs, usually these more I guess like simpler accuracy picks are usually avoided. Yeah, it's always like dependent on the player when it comes to like these types of picks. It's kind of hard to really say what might be advantageous to one player and what might be weak to one player when you don't really know too much about them. So it's just one of those things where you kind of have to just trust what the players go with. Yeah, it's just those quick moments, especially when some of your tournament players tend to just need to kind of switch around. Yeah, especially also because like they're in playoffs, so basically, if they lose, they're out. Here we go. It's race 2. It'll be interesting to see how both players do, but so far, nothing too far. Yeah, I mean, Zemiku does have some experience with tournaments from MWC, so that is definitely going to help them quite a bit from last year, and especially just given that it's basically been a year since MWC. They've had a lot of time to basically kind of get prepared with these types of charts.
It's not mattering too much.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like getting very, very close at this point now. It's gonna be quite scary, but it is gonna be something that Pino really wants, just given the fact that it is their pick.
Exactly, and as we get to the halfway point of the chart, it looks like they're still going to be holding on pretty well, both of the players. And this chart pretty much just doesn't stop. It goes all the way to the end. There's not really any breaks to be seen here, so it's just a test of endurance, really, and to see who can hold on the longest.
Yeah, especially as the accuracies are basically the same now. One break is basically all it takes, but I mean, I guess on one side, looking at this matchup, the one good thing for Pino is that even if he loses this pick, it's not like in a regular tournament where that's 1 point that you're off by and you basically need to recover with a breakpoint. Because with this format, it's only score that we're looking into.
Exactly, and as we get into pretty much the one break of the chart, we can see that the accuracies are pretty much leveling off now. And since they're at the end of the chart, basically, final quarter, you really do not want to slip up here, because if your opponent is able to stay consistent, you're not going to be able to bring back your score at that point. So you just have to hope that your opponent drops before you do.
Yeah, especially once we get into like this like last section right here, because once you've made it past the first like 75%, you're basically fine with playing this like final part. It's just that kind of like final consistency test.
As we get into the last 100,000 points, it looks like Zemiku is slightly ahead, but anything can happen. We've seen it before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it looks like they are pulling ahead quite a bit, with them having a 0.1% accuracy difference again, and Zemiku will take this first point. or I guess the first score edition.
Yeah, 3,000 score, not too much, but it still matters in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, in playoffs especially, you want to take any amount of score that you can get here.
I mean, thankfully for Pino, it's only 3,000, which you could easily recover in like a single pick, if anything.
Yeah, and looks like next up to pick is Zemiku. I'd expect they would want to go for maybe a hybrid or an LN pick, just to test the waters with their opponent, see what they're able to do.
Yeah, I could easily see them going for maybe one of the hybrids. They could maybe go for LN1.
I might expect maybe LN1, yeah, or a hybrid 3 because of Pinoy playing Osu's LN3 ban, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think any of these hybrids, like you said earlier, would do good. LN1, I guess, can maybe be good, but it looks like Rice 4 instead, actually.
Ooh, okay. Interesting pick here. This pick is pretty abrasive on the dump side, so I think that Miku's gonna want to take advantage of that if they're able to hold combo more than their opponent, so...
Yeah, and on a pick like this one, they're going to be limited on like how much they can gain in terms of scoring, just because it's a protect, so it might be something to be noting if you're on either side.
Rice 5 was a protect, no?
Sorry?
Rice 5 was a protect, no?
This is let's see. Oh yeah, wait. Oops. Hold on. Oh wait, no. This is Blue's protect.
Hi Pinoy playing Osu's grandma, we hope you enjoy the stream.
Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Going into Rice 4. This is gonna be Pino's pick, so this is Mickey's pick, sorry. Here we go.
Zemiku actually did suffer a pretty sizable act drop at the beginning, but it shouldn't be that big of an issue if they're able to climb back, but it does look like they're dropping quite a lot, but so is Pinoy playing Osu, so really anything can happen here.
Yeah, they're actually so like basically the same, so it's like not that worrying at least.
Yeah, especially now that their accuracies are starting to level out a bit. And now that we get into this break section, they get a chance to at least bring them up a little bit. But then it goes right back into the more abrasive, dumpy sections of the chart, so...
Yeah, they have to be really careful with like some of these mini jacks, since it can be a little bit tricky to kind of keep control of. And obviously you have to kind of make sure your accuracy is in check, but it looks like Zemiku's holding on so far.
Yeah, and their accuracy difference is less than, or it was less than 0.1%, but now it's pretty much over that, since Pinoy playing Osu did drop a tiny bit. But now that we get to the end, it's just a matter of if they're able to hold on to these last few bursts.
Yeah, it's just this ending section, which is gonna basically just be what we've been seeing for the past minute already. So nothing new to these players, just more so a test of consistency. But as we go on, Zemiku gonna be getting a little bit more of a lead on this part.
Unfortunately, Pinoy did drop a tiny bit during that last section of burst, so that is going to give the win over to Zemiku with a difference of about 8,000.
Yeah, almost at that cap, just barely not there. But pretty good
But
scores from both players.
then again, you do want to take any points that you can get here. So it's good for Zemiku to stack them on
Oh
early.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they basically reached the cap for like a protect, so it's not gonna do like too much. It's not gonna make much of a difference, honestly. Like they basically got as much score as they pretty much could. It's just kind of
Yeah, exactly. Now on to Pinoy's protect. I mean, not protect. Pick. Just apparently the stream's broken.
it should be fine. Not too sure. Okay, it seems like it might just be on their side, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but it is going to be Pino's pick now. Not too sure what they might want to go for.
If anything, Pinoy might want to stick to the rice since that's what they seem to be comfortable with. So I'd maybe expect a rice 3 since it does seem to be the less physical of the other picks. So
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I think Rice 3 could be good, like you said. It's not as physical, but I also think Rice 1 maybe, given how we saw Rice 2 go at least.
yeah, you are right because rice 1 is a test of consistency. So maybe Pinoy is up for another stamina test again.
It looks like going for Rice 1.
Oh, okay. Just want to take a gamble with the skill set that they say they're not good at. I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, in some cases it could work. I mean, we've seen it happen before. It's really just a matter of who's feeling better in terms of speed at the current moment, especially in a pick like this one, where the physicality isn't going to be like too high compared to like what we see later on. It's more kind of smooth overall.
Yeah, exactly. And speed is pretty hard to stay consistent on. So what I'm thinking Pinoy is thinking right now is that they might want Zemiku to kind of drop a little bit of misses, but maybe from what we've seen, I don't know if that's going to happen. But you want to take a gamble, you just got to play it out to the end.
Yeah, especially in these matches, you always need to kind of like think about where you want to be, especially given that it's not a point system, but rather a scoring system. So consistency is gonna matter a lot more in like these types of tournaments. So
Exactly. And as we get into the map, we have this little free accuracy section at the beginning, right before it gets into the streamier side.
yeah, starting off a little bit late, but nothing too bad.
And it looks like they're holding pretty consistently on these beginning streams. It doesn't look like they're having too much trouble, which could be an indicator for how they do later on, since these streams are pretty much the same throughout the entire map. So
Yeah, yeah, basically the same accuracy. So it's really just gonna be a matter of who's able to hold on to that consistency. And so far, both of them have been so consistent. So hard to really say.
yeah, it does look like Pinoy playing Osu is going ahead for the first time in a while, especially with that tiny drop that Zemiku just had. But the question is, will they be able to hold it throughout this 3-minute map? Since speed is a really big killer of consistency, so it's just
Yeah,
going to depend on whether they're able to keep their combo at this point or keep their accuracy up.
yeah, especially just because like speed in it of itself also requires like a certain type of like finger control. So if you aren't like too used to it, then it's really easy to just trip yourself up and get like a lot of like 200s randomly.
And halfway through the map, both players are actually holding pretty well off. Like they are almost tied at this stage, which isn't really something you see in speed picks. Usually there's one player that's kind of towering over the other, but no, they seem to be pretty evenly matched, and pinoyplayingosu actually does suffer a pretty big act drop.
Yeah, a little unfortunate, especially as we're closing off to the end, but it's not too big of a lead on the side of Zemiku, so anything could happen. We're still running near that 3-minute mark, so if we're going to see any misses, then it could potentially be now, as stamina starting to kick in these types of parts.
Yeah, since the stamina is now kicking in, it's really just a matter of if anyone misses, because a single miss is going to sway the lead over to one side since their accuracies are so close. But pinoyplayingosu is dropping a tiny bit even still. And if this keeps up, it looks like Zemiku is going to take another score addition to their counter.
Yeah, and as we go by, like you said, they're going to get a bit of more score with 2,000 score added onto their name. Not going to be the biggest amount of score, but I mean, they add up after a while.
Yeah, and now as we get back into the lobby, it is going to be Zemiku's pick. And given the pattern that we're seeing, I'm going to assume they're just going to keep sticking to the rice. And I think they might go for rice 5 in this case to
Yeah,
throw off Pinoy.
as you called it. Race 5. I mean,
There we
it makes
go.
sense. They've been constantly going for the kind of consistency test. So Rise 5 was to be expected at some point.
Yeah, I don't blame Zemiku for this pick. It's a pretty good one because from what we saw in Rice 4, they are able to hold on, especially with more abrasive patterns. So picking the mixed pick might be working in their favor here.
Yeah, that is one thing to note, as well as just the fact that they've been doing a little bit better in terms of like speed, jump shooting, those kind of raw skill charts. So this being the kind of mixed pick kind of adds on to that potential, I guess, bias you could say that they might have.
Yeah, and especially considering that this is the longest pick in the pool, at least from what I remember, and who knows what can happen here. It's just going to be a stamina test again.
Yeah, especially just because there's not really a lot of like breaks in this chart as well. But I guess a good thing for Pino, if they do lose this by a bit of a bigger margin, is that it's gonna be capped at 8,500. So the losses will be a little bit less, but we'll have to see. It could also go the other way, where Zemiku maybe loses that 8,500.
Exactly, but you can never count out either of these players as we've seen from the previous picks because they've stayed so close throughout each pick. So you can never really have a definitive outcome on any pick, really.
Yeah, especially on a pick like this one, which is kind of slowly going to encapsulate that kind of bossy feeling. So it's going to be a bit of a test in terms of just pure physicality, consistency, and accuracy, of course, in this kind of earlier stage. But so far, Pino's still holding on to that.
Yeah, and that was a pretty massive drop from Zemiku right there, dropping from, I'm pretty sure it was high 99.6 to a 99.48, and that's a drop coming out of Zemiku. That's the first drop of the entire match, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Oh, double miss, double miss.
Vinoy trades it right back. Okay then.
Hey man, no harm, no foul.
True. Pinoy's miss seems like it was a bit cleaner though, so we're all good. The score difference is still the same, but it is slowly creeping to Zemiku's favor because it took Pinoy a little bit to get back to the 400 combo cap.
Yeah, Zemiku's actually starting to get a little bit of accuracy though, but it seems like to be fluctuating a little bit here, so not really too sure who has the advantage here.
Yeah, and it looks like Pinoy did drop on that tiny transition, so the lead is going to swing back to Zemiku, and especially with all these varied patterns, like jacks transitioning into trills and then transitioning into anchors, there's so much that can trip you up here.
Yeah, especially with this section here, which kind of switches a little bit from like the previous sections where you're kind of anchored a little bit more. Some of these outros as well. I think if we're going to want to see Pino getting a little bit of score, we're going to have to see another miss on the side of Zemiku.
Yeah, and I think that's entirely possible, especially given all these, it seems like snap changes, but
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, they're here and there.
Yeah, and as we get into the last quarter of the map, they are still pretty evenly matched, with Zemiku having a bit of an act lead, but as we've seen earlier in the map, anything is possible and either one of them can break.
Yeah, but it's gonna look a little bit more scary as me. Oh! As I was gonna say, it's like, oh, double miss!
Oh, that's a double miss from Zemiku. That is
At
not
the very
good.
end. I don't
And the
know.
lead is going to shift pretty surely into Pinoy
Yeah.
playing Osu's side.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if there was enough to reach that 400 combo cap, but I guess... Yeah, I guess not. So I guess the damage won't be fully done, but like that's still quite a bit of score for Pinyu at least.
I know Pinoy's grandma is so proud right now.
Yeah, it is gonna bring them back just a little bit.
And as you can see by the scoreboards, it really doesn't matter because the accuracy that you get really doesn't matter as long as you're able to stay consistent because while Pinoy did have a tiny bit more greats, they were able to make up for that with their consistency. So
Yeah, I mean in a tournament match, it's basically everything combined which matters. If you don't have one part, then you could be falling off a bit short, but there are times where it is good to have a little bit of more consistency than act, but we'll have to kind of wait and see. But it is Pinoy's pick, so we'll have to wait and see what they go for. I would assume maybe Rice 3.
I'm fully expecting a Rice 3 to come out here from Pinoy.
I mean,
Or
it's
they
the
might
general
want to just...
trend.
Yeah, true. Or they might want to just say, screw it and go for a hybrid 3 just to see what happens.
Yeah, Rice 3.
There we go, Rice 3.
Yeah, but that is going to exhaust out all the Rice picks now, so they're going to be forced to go into the Ellens and hybrids. But they only have one Ellen, so we'll kind of wait and see.
Yeah, and I'm kind of interested in seeing how the Ellen hybrid pool goes because, as we can see, both players are really not wanting to go dip into either skill set. So maybe there is a weakness there that either of them can exploit out of the other.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. I mean, this is a bit of a more continuous pick as well, so consistency is also going to matter on a pick like this one. A little bit more.
I'm just waiting for Pinoy to download it again.
I'm quite interested to see how this one goes, though. I mean, it's a bit of a different chart compared to what we've been kind of seeing for the most part.
Exactly, especially how this chart is, again, it's one of the least physical picks in the pool, so this is going to rely pretty much solely on pure technical accuracy.
Yeah, and we've seen that like with these like lower physicality picks, some players tend to have a little bit more trouble on it purely just for that reason alone.
Yeah, now getting into this, we can see that the map gives you a little taste of what's to come for later. And it looks like both players are able to keep their accuracy pretty well. Pinoy is struggling a tiny bit, but I don't think that should get to them, at least. Oh, that's a pretty big act drop from Zemiku.
starting to look a bit scarier on the side of Zemiku, but I guess the one good thing for them is this is the last rice pick, so they're able to kind of just flow off of the remaining picks, if anything.
And already getting into a third of the map, the accuracies are starting to equalize. Both of the players are equal again, and it looks like they're not really having any trouble with this. It's just basically a ratio battle at this point.
Yeah, they're both in that 990 range, and it's so close as well.
Yeah, and as the map is starting to slowly creep up to the end, we are getting these slightly more technical patterns, which is starting to throw Pinoy off a little bit. They are dropping quite a bit from 99.7, but nothing really matters until it's over.
Yes, and if you're so barely holding onto that 990 range, it's gonna help them so much. But it's gonna be really hurtful for Pinoy as we're very, very close to the ending.
As the map comes to a close, Zemiku is going to take the score addition with 4,400 points being added to their total.
Bringing them to a 13,000 lead, but it is going to be his pick now, and we only have the Ellens and hybrids for right now.
I really have no idea how this section could go because both players were avoiding these maps, and I guess it had to be for a reason. So
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see though. But I mean, Pinoy's been doing quite well on the rice values.
yeah, if these rice picks were anything that, and if these rice picks were saying anything, it's basically that we still have a pretty interesting match in our hands because hybrids, I mean, they're half rice, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a good number of like rice players who are able to play hybrids quite well.
Immediately, we're going right into the Jackie hybrid.
I would probably call this the most like rice-friendly hybrid, just in general, even like a regular tournament setting.
Yeah, I could see why you would say that, but then again, this also does require it does require a bit more control because Jack hybrid is typically more control heavy than the others, so it really comes down to who's able to control themselves better here.
Yeah, especially like these lower rounds where the Jack hybrids, where the LNs are a little bit longer compared to like something like semifinals, quarterfinals, where like start to get into like the higher BPM where those smaller LNs start to become those mini LNs.
Yeah, exactly. So either way, you still have to have a pretty good grip on your LN ability if you want to hope to move on in the playoffs, especially considering that, like Snow said, these are more, I guess, LN oriented in a way.
Yeah, especially in early game, but let's just wait and see. The match is slowly starting, so we'll get to see how this treats both of them.
And here we go. We get to see the player's first attempt at testing the waters of a more LN heavy map, and pinoyplayingosu is struggling quite a bit. They do take a couple breaks.
Yeah, it seems to be mostly in the LNs as well, so definitely something to be a bit worried about on their side. And it's already going to exceed that score cap. It's definitely quite scary on their side.
Yeah, it does seem like they don't have that much control over their LNs, so it is starting to show right here, especially now that Zemiku is holding quite a strong lead at 99.6, and it just continues to grow as Pinoy is struggling still.
Yeah, it's going to be really unfortunate for them, especially at this stage of the game where like we're slowly getting into the area where they're gonna have to reach tiebreaker one way or another if they kind of keep it close. But with this, it's looking quite far from here.
Yeah, Pinoy is going to have to lock in pretty heavily at this point in order to be able to make it to tiebreaker. But as we can see, they've dropped down to the 97 range, and it doesn't look like Zemiku's willing to give up any wiggle room at all. Still staying up at the 99.5 range.
Yeah, and we're slowly getting to the ending section here, so not really much that can really happen for Zemiku. I mean, it's just these kind of lighter sections as well until we reach the very end.
And now that we've reached the end of the map, that is going to be a massive boost to Zemiku's total points, getting the maximum possible.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a scary situation for Pinoy, given that basically Zemiku needs a little below 4,000 to kind of avoid that tiebreaker.
Now, seeing this performance, I think Zemiku might be eyeing that LN1 pick, especially considering that now they have a lock on this territory.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised. I mean, it is also their last pick, so they might want to be quite careful with what they go for and kind of go for something that could potentially get them the win.
And we will see what Zemiku picks in a second. Wait, I'm not that smart. It's not Zemiku's pick.
Oh, you're right. It is going to be Pinoy's pick. Well, it is going to be their last pick, though, so I guess that is something to be wary of.
I'm assuming Pinoy might want to go for a more linear pick, like Hybrid 1, in order to kind of... Wait, what? LN1?
I guess.
Okay.
I wasn't really expecting this from them, at least. I was thinking this would be more something Zemiku would go for.
Yeah. But, I mean, maybe they have something hiding up their sleeve that we're not aware of, so...
Yeah, we're just gonna kind of have to wait and see. I'm not too sure about this pick, though.
Yeah, especially with the fact that from my own testing, this is pretty hard to hack in general.
Yeah.
With all the weird releases that are going on, so...
Yeah, especially with that kind of like inverse in gameplay as well.
Yeah, like this map is not to be taken lightly, because even though it is easy in the grand scheme of things, in order to act it properly, you have to be on your A game.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, especially given this type of LN, which isn't too common nowadays. So it could also be a challenge for that reason that players might not be too familiar with it. But as we're continuing on, so far Zemiku holding a bit of a lead. Not too much though so far.
I don't think either of them like this pick that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them are kinda not having fun, it looks like.
Yeah, we can kind of see both of them releasing early at times. So definitely something to be wary of.
And that is going to be the first drop from pinoyplayingosu side. And that's not going to be good, especially considering that they're at 97%, which means that Zemiku has a whole accuracy percentage. Oh, and both of them trade misses, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not even going to do that much on Zemiku's side, just given the fact that they're at that 20+K lead. We just have to kind of wait and see, unless we see more mess-ups from Zemiku, but it doesn't seem like it for now.
Yeah, and it looks like Pinoy is really starting to struggle in the back half of this map as the more I guess, releasey parts come in.
Yeah. We're slowly reaching the ending of this chart. And as we go on, Pino is still going to be kind of missing these sections. I mean, I guess not really going to do much more harm given that the score cap's already reached, but just going to make it harder for if we see any misses come on Zemiku's side. But we're at the end, so doubt it.
Yeah, and Zemiku is going to take this pick by a pretty sizable margin. The question is, will it reach 100k? Don't think Pinoy was going to let that happen. Yeah, 98k.
Yeah, but it's just going to add on 10k to Zemiku's side. So it won't end the match right away, but it is going to put Pino on kind of danger level, especially given that once the next pick is done, they have to be at 27,500 or below, or else tiebreaker.
Yeah, and if it keeps happening at this pace, I'm not sure if they are going to be able to reach the tiebreaker. So Pinoy still have the exit to this game.
But as we go on to the next pick, looks like we'll be seeing Hybrid 3, which I guess works. I was thinking maybe Hybrid 1, just given that it has some of those kind of like inversey patterns at times. We're going into our tech hybrid, the final regular pick. So here we go, going into hybrid 3, the final pick for either player. We'll just have to kind of wait and see what happens.
Okay, there we go, client. Thank you. Now we're just starting off the technical hybrid, so this is going to be make or break for Pinoy, as they have to pretty much put on the best performance of their life here in order to stay alive.
Yeah, there's essentially no going back once we've already started this pick. But so far, it is still quite close, but it's not gonna... Quite close isn't gonna cut it for Pinoy at least.
Yeah, it does look like and Pinoy is going to drop right there, which is going to give a more sizable lead to Zemiku here. But Zemiku actually trades that back, interestingly enough.
Yeah, but with the kind of accuracy deficit on Pinoy's side, it's not going to be enough. I mean, we're going to have to see a big lead on the side of Pinoy if we want to see it reach tiebreaker, but Zemiku's making sure to hold on to that lead.
And now getting into the last quarter of the map, it looks like Pinoy is kind of holding on better in this map since it's not as LN-centric as the other two, but it's all going to come down to this last part of the map to see if they're able to hold on or if they're going to be knocked out.
Yeah, especially as we kind of go on to this section where it progressively gets a little bit more LN-y, and we can kind of see it with the score lead gaining on Zemiku's side.
And as the map comes to a close, it looks like it is going to be yet another point for Zemiku as Pinoy breaks yet again.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Pinoy, that is going to be the end of the last pick, and it is also unfortunate for them going to be a win for Zemiku.
Looks like that's a good game. Zemiku is going to move on to round of 64. And unfortunately, it looks like Pinoy is going to be knocked out of the tournament.
Yeah, unfortunate for them, especially just given that it is playoffs, so not really much that they could do.
But hey, that's the beauty of tournaments.
Yeah,
They played well until the end. That's all that mattered.
yeah. Like you said, Zemiku will be moving on to the regular bracket in round of 64 floor. They'll have a little bit of extra safety at least, given that they'll be in double elimination format.
Yeah, and next round is going to be a match between Tentra MPM and Blinded MF. So look forward to that at least.
Yeah, a lot of matches that start in about 7 hours. We'll have to kind of wait and see if we get streams for those. I'm not too sure who's up right now, but I guess so then you could stay tuned and you'll get an announcement if there is one. I guess we can end things off unless you have anything else to say.
Nah, man, I don't have anything else to say, honestly.
Alright, well, we'll be seeing you. If anyone commentators know. See ya.
See ya.